Athletes begin their journeys in many different ways, often taking twists and turns leading to failures and successes. During this video, we will be looking at 3 Siena College student athletes and taking a look at their journey to success. Our first student athlete today is Tara Soboreski for your women Siena Saints.
It always was a dream, but I didn't really think it was realistic until I started playing club soccer and would go to all the showcases and see like hundreds of college coaches just like come to all of our games and everything, and I thought, wow, I could actually do this.
At the beginning of Tara's career, she had doubts, but with support from her family and friends, she was able to push through.
My parents did play sports when they were younger, nothing like serious. They played in high school, not college, not professional, but when I was growing up, they did push me to play sports just as kind of, it's like a social thing, like it keeps me active. But when it came to like getting recruited and everything, they always told me, if you don't want to do this, we're not forcing you to do it, but I did want to do it. So they were really supportive in everything that I did, so that was really good growing up.
Because of plays like this, Tara was rewarded with the Siena Women's Athlete of the Year award for the 2015-16 season.
I never expected to get that, especially since it was always kind of a senior that won it the first 2 years that I was here. As soon as I heard them say some of my accolades, I kind of just got really nervous, and I was like, oh my God, that's me. And like, I wanted to like pass out when I had to walk up. I thought I was going to trip and everything. It was just really like, came to me as a shock, but I was really honored to receive it, but I still didn't expect that at all.
Like most athletes, Tara got involved with sports at a young age and never looked back.
I started playing travel soccer when I was in 6th grade, and then it wasn't until like high school where I joined like a really high-level club team, and we just traveled every weekend all across the country from like Orlando to Virginia to Vegas, and just like I kind of didn't have a life in high school, but I was with my best friends all the time traveling, so I thought it was definitely worth it. And looking at where I am now, it definitely was. My parents sacrificed so much for me. It was just like we were always traveling, so they gave up their social lives. They put a lot of money into my soccer career.
Because of her individual performance, she elevated her team's level of play and helped them win a MAC championship in 2015.
A couple of my favorite memories are, one, obviously winning a MAC championship my junior year. We were the 6th seed, kind of didn't have any business in being in the tournament. We were kind of like a dark horse, and we beat the number 3 seed, the number 2 seed, and the number 1 seed, so that was awesome. And then my second favorite memory was senior day. Although it was really bad weather, we came out and beat Manhattan 4-0 and just absolutely dominated the game, which was a rematch of the MAC championship. So playing them the last time on our field was just really great, and it was just really emotional.
Although Tara isn't sure what she wants to do with her future, she does know that she wants soccer to be a part of it. Now that we move on to our next athlete, it is Kristen Bromley of your women's Siena golf team.
Yeah, it was always a dream to play a Division I sport. I always played soccer, lacrosse. I was always playing basketball or whatever after school, but it wasn't really until late middle school, early high school that I wanted to play golf. And once I got to high school, I really started to pursue it. I started playing in national tournaments, and luckily my high school team was able to win states a few years, so that definitely helped in pursuing my dream.
Despite there not being summer teams in golf, Kristen still found a way to work on her game during the summer.
A lot of our summer preparation is all individual, and it really, you need self-motivation like in any sport, but golf, I think there's a higher emphasis on it. So over the summer, we're not really playing for a club team. We're working with our individual swing coaches. We're getting out there and practicing 6, 7, 8 hours a day even, to just be better and come back and do the best that we can for our team in the fall.
At a young age, Kristen was not limited to one sport. She was actually encouraged to play multiple.
I stopped playing lacrosse. That was my last sport before I fully focused on golf, my sophomore year of high school. And I was on the team, but I didn't really play that much. So when our team was doing drills and whatnot, I would always be caught in the background practicing my golf swing. And right after practice, I would go right to the range in preparation for states and summer tournaments. So my sophomore year was when I really knew that golf was the sport that I wanted to continue to play. My mom has always been active. She was a personal trainer, so I think that's where I got a lot of my athleticism from. But my dad, on the other hand, he always played golf too. So through his, I guess, motivation and my brother's motivation in golf, that's kind of where I picked up the sport, and then I ultimately continued with it.
Fortunately for Kristen, she had somebody that she could work on her game with all the time.
I actually have a twin brother who plays collegiate golf as well at the Division III level. So over the summer, again, you going back to the club teams and whatnot. I don't have a club team, again, like I said, but I had that motivation from my brother, and we would always go out in the mornings, in the afternoon, and we'd play and kind of help each other with our swings and our games. So that was definitely a motivating force as well.
Like most athletes, Kristen has the will to compete in everything she does.
I always got little bit of a comment saying, oh, well, the ladies' tees are up there, blah, blah, blah. But as I got older, I wanted to play from the guys' tees. I wanted to show them that I was just as capable of shooting the same numbers as they were. So definitely some competition there. But
in Kristen's freshman year, she was able to be a part of a winning team and bring a MAC championship home to Siena.
That was super exciting. We were favored that year, and the year before that, that was actually the first year that the team hadn't won in 12 years. So to kind of be on that redemption team that came back stronger and get that team title was pretty exciting. And then we got to journey down to Oklahoma for the regional championship, which was super exciting. I want to stay in the golf industry. It's been a part of my life for so long, and I'm not ready to give that up. I don't have any definite plans, but our golf program is heading to Ireland, and we're playing 6 courses in 6 days out in Killarney, so we're super excited. So I'm looking forward to that. Although there is that individual aspect of it, when we're together on the course, we know that we're playing for more than ourselves. We're playing for the Saints.
Kristen hit her first hole-in-one at the age of 13, and we're sure that won't be the last for her as she continues her dedicated career. Yes. As Kristen's golf career continues, we know she will be successful both on and off the course. Our third and final athlete today will be Ryan Gaderi of your Siena men's lacrosse team.
Especially as a little kid, I was always pretty big, so I really liked the idea of playing sports at a high level for as long as I could. I wasn't sure if it was going to be lacrosse early on. I was a really good wrestler, a really good football player, and lacrosse is something that doors opened up later in my career and was something that came into the conversation once I realized that big-time Division I football players are also big-time human beings, so to speak.
At a young age, Ryan played many sports, as his parents knew this would be a perfect outlet for him.
Like a lot of kids, I could never focus, so what my parents and coaches strongly advised me to do was just stay active as much as possible to minimize the time that I could be, at home or, messing around, fooling around, things like that. So I had been doing activities, whether it was arts and crafts. I did gymnastics for a year when I was a little kid, doing like cartwheels and somersaults and things like that. Literally anything my mom could do to keep my energy contained, she signed me up for.
Ryan's parents were always there for him and were always supportive, but they never forced him into doing anything.
That's what's interesting about my parents is that they are probably the loudest people you'll ever see in the stands, but never once did they tell me it's something I had to do. And it's funny because after a big loss or things like that, sometimes my parents would be like, oh, well, it's not that big a deal. I'm like, no, it is such a big deal, which is really cool, I think.
Unlike most athletes, Ryan was uncertain if he wanted to continue his college career and took a gap year after high school.
Yeah, so I took a gap year. That was a decision me, my folks, and my summer coach helped me come to that decision. The idea was that I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go, so rather than jump into a decision, we decided, take the year off, go on an outward bound trip, and then work and make some money and figure it out from there. So MV Whitlow got me set up with the guys over at Outward Bound, and I spent 3 months out in the wilderness. I spent a month at the Blue Ridge, a month down in Patagonia, and a month in the Everglades. The trip was surreal. You think about being completely removed from technology, completely removed from the outside world, and it's such a cerebral and self-reflective trip. I think that I learned a lot of skills out there that have helped center me and help me get through difficult times, even for little things like keeping my pace when I'm trying to do a lot of work or writing a paper, but even bouncing back from tough losses. And after, so that was for like a semester's length. And then the second half of the year I was a nanny, and I watched a 5th grade girl, a 3rd grade boy, and a girl in 1st grade. And that was the toughest job I've had in my life. And I've worked some very tough jobs, be it construction with my old man and some very labor-intensive jobs, but taking care of those 3 elementary school kids was the most challenging and most taxing job I've ever had. And if they ever get a chance to see this film, they were brutal, let me tell you. There's nothing crazier than a 5th grade girl who doesn't want to go to school. Having that time off reminded me why I loved lacrosse. It reminded me why I wanted to do this, and it kind of put into perspective, how short of time we have to play this game and be a part of an enterprise that is college sports, that's so much bigger than the individual. And in the hustle and bustle of getting recruited and being competitive and trying to get into the best school, kids forget about that. They forget about why they fell in love with the game, and they forget about what it means to step on the field and compete.
His senior season, Ryan was lucky enough to be given the opportunity to be captain and lead his team into battle every single day.
I think so, a little bit. More so, it's not about the title really. It was more so kind of the feeling in the locker room once I got that recognition, because that stuff's for the newspapers, The real captains of the team are the kids that are busting their ass in practice, but not only that, the kids that people look over to, in those moments. And I don't think the title necessarily makes it so, but it's more of an attitude and a character thing.
During the summer, Ryan continued to work on his skills, specifically with the Tri-State Lacrosse Club.
I played Tri-State, which is like the Jersey powerhouse. I played for Bob Turco, MV Whitlow, and some of the other guys down there that were great. What was so special about it was the passion of the head coaches on that program, but also having college guys come back and having lacrosse be such a tight-knit community was something that was amazing. And it's really scary, especially this time of year. And being 23 years old, and my whole life kind of the center of my universe has been sports, and the thought of life without that is strange. I think about it almost like when people found out that the earth was a sphere and not flat, and the thought of comprehending that is it's infallible, some people might say. There's a 1,000 more interviews to come, but only a couple more games, and that's where my heart and that's where my head's at.
Through these 3 athletes, you can see that the path to success is not always the same, and sometimes it's very uncertain for these athletes. To get to where these athletes have come, you have to be self-driven, motivated, and passionate about the sport you love. And although the journey is very important, it is more important with what you do once you get to the top than the path itself.